Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network, we're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. It's another great month in the year of 2023. Believe it or not, we are now in the second quarter of the year. My, did the first quarter go by so quickly. I'm glad that you're all here with us today. I'm very excited about the show. Two of my very best friends will be on today. I am Robert W. Jones, W for Wesley, for those who don't know. Let's talk a little bit about what's going around the community right now. I wanted to remind everyone that our forthcoming #1 international best-selling book, 365 Days of Gratitude Quotes, will be coming out in December. We still have the BOGO offer. That's buy one, get one. Buy a page for $249. You can get a second page in the book on a reserve date of your choice to be in that book. These pages normally sell per page for $550, and so you can get it for only $249. So we would love to have you guys, come into the book and join this wonderful thing called the Art of Connection. I also want to remind everyone that you can like us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/iNetrepreneur Radio and youtube.com/iNetrepreneur Radio. And see, that's what I love about modern technology is, even if we don't know how to spell it, all we have to do is at least try to get it that one simple time and then bookmark it. And if we bookmark it, you'll have it forever in whatever browser that you're using, whether it be on the phone, an iPad, a laptop, a desktop. I don't even know, even a watch nowadays. There's so many ways that we can get content fed to us. It just amazes me. Sometimes I just wish for the days of carrier pigeons, but I don't think they're coming back anytime too soon. Also, please, take a look at our magazines. We have two wonderful magazines. One of them is the iNetrepreneur Network magazine, where we, lift up and we support and we, edify the members of the iNetrepreneur Network community. And also, my lovely wife has the Contemporary Woman magazine, a wonderful magazine that celebrates, all the women in the community, women entrepreneurs, and even the men that support women entrepreneurs. So men, don't be afraid. If you have an article to write that's supportive of the women entrepreneurs, then please do so in the Contemporary Women magazine. For more information and to subscribe, go to iNetrepreneur.magazine.com. That's iNetrepreneur.magazine.com. Also, I don't know how we do it, but we put on over 1,000 meetings and events every year in the iNetrepreneur Network. You can find 1,000 of them, and please, I know people text me and they ask me when something's going on. I always say, please, please, please go to ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net. You can get all of the meetings from networking to classes to our author circles to our summits, and so much more. You can find all of that for your connection happiness at ntevents.net. Again, I'm glad you're here today. It's a happy Thursday in the wonderful world where I am in, and that's that crazy state of Arizona. And I am excited to bring on my first guest of the show. She is the wonderful. She is Miss Lauren Archibeque. Lauren, how are you today?
Oh, I'm excited to be here, Robert, and I'm doing just great. Thank you.
Well, and it's so great. Like, I know Jill's coming on a little bit later. You're on now. And I always love talking to you guys. And it's not just because of the knowledge that you both have. It's because you have the most important thing that I think that all entrepreneurs should have. And that is just the world's best smiles. I feel like, what I'd really like to do is, Jill is she's like the goddess or the queen or the empress of, putting stuff up like a star or a happy note. I'm just going to get some type of lips or a smile like the Rolling Stone lips. And every time you come on, I'm going to put lips up there and say, yep, that's you guys. You make the world a better place just by smiling. So Lauren, I want to thank you for that.
Well, and it's a skill that everybody can use. Wouldn't it be great if you just walked around and everybody had some kind of a pleasant expression on their face, a smile, a little, not everybody's going to be, but just a smile.
Just a smile, just to let them, even if it's not open for business, just even it's open for being like your neighbor, just having a conversation, just showing some support. Everyone, I'm with Lauren Archibeque. She's a best-selling author, speaker, trainer, and founder of The Growth Company. She can be reached at lauren@thegrowthcompany.net, not com, but .net, thegrowthcompany.net. Or you can call her at 480-276-0443. Lauren, again, I'm so happy that you're here today. And let's dive into a few things. I mean, you have a wealth of experience, so many certifications. I would, it'd still be scrolling for the next 2 days with all the certifications that you had in life. You've acquired a great amount, of knowledge. But one of the things that I'm always most impressed with you is, even though you have all that knowledge, you really keep yourself very real, and you really meet every person at the level that they need to be met at. Was this a natural skill that you have, or is this a skill that you've developed through all these certifications?
Here's what I know about me, Robert. I am always me. There was a time in my world many, many years ago, probably 100 years ago, where I was in more of a, I know I look good, right?
I know. I tell people she's 182 and she still looks like she's 28. I mean, you can't believe it. What is she taking?
Well, here's the thing is that I am 100% me 100% of the time. So what that means is that even when I was back in a more corporate environment, like I said, this is going back a long ways. So I was on the East Coast. I was in my suit. I had my pumps, my stockings on, if anybody even remembers what those are anymore. And yet I was still me. It was one of my very, very first sales jobs. And it was absolutely amazing. It's a long story that I won't get into, but in 9 months, I managed to earn a trip to Italy from the company, selling word processors. I told you it was 100 years ago.
What is a word processor, by the way? Is that still a word?
For PCs. I told you I was 180 years old. But the thing is that I didn't even know how to type at the time. And I managed to sell enough to earn a trip to Italy. Why? Because I was me. My heart's desire always is to be of service, whether I've got something that I would like for you to invest in, or if it's finding you the best resource for you. And that's, I think it just, here's the answer to your question, Robert. It's a developed characteristic, and I developed it very, very young because I recognized that the challenges that I was going through, even as a very, very young child, a lot of people on the planet are touched by similar circumstances or, adjoining circumstances. But the truth of the matter is that everybody in their lifetime is going to get their fair share of, I'm going to call them challenges. They're going to get, changes of fortune. They're going to get involved with people that might not be the best for them. They might get health challenges. People die. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to have their fair share. And everybody's going to have their fair share of highs if they choose to see them. So as I approach every person everywhere, whether it's the barista or in the grocery line or my clients, I come from a place of going, how can I serve you? How can I elevate you to the next place that might not even be comfortable for you yet? But how can we move you forward? Or, like we started the show, a smile can make all the difference in somebody's day.
Well, I think that what's very interesting with Lauren, in the growth company is, it doesn't say the personal growth company, it doesn't say the entrepreneurial growth company, it doesn't say the community growth company. It's just the growth company. And I think one of the things that you do, whether it's for someone in their family, whether it's an entrepreneur reaching a hurdle that they need to get over, whether it's someone who's capping out, maybe with coaches that they have, and maybe they need to see through a different lens. I think what you help entrepreneurs, what you help people, what you help family members, etc., is you help them find their own truth. And I think that that's a very important part. And everyone's own truth is very dissimilar, because we're all so unique. Would you agree with that? And would you agree that you help people find their own truth?
That is, you are so right on the money. Because, first of all, everybody being so incredibly different. I like to say, my mom would say, that's what keeps you young and beautiful. No,
I'll take it. I love it.
yeah, there's no end to the twists and turns that somebody will go on. There is no formula, if you will, to say, well, we do this and this and this, and then this is all cleared up. Every human psyche is a maze and a puzzle, and unraveling that to get to their core saboteur is always thrilling and exciting, and it's quite a ride. And then the other piece of that is, I forgot what the other piece was.
Well, because this is interesting, because I really want to bring this out on the show. We all have our own truth, and we all have our own paths. Okay, go ahead.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. And when you're talking about your own truth and your own path, this is the beautiful part of humanity, is that when you can actually tap into your authenticity, your genuine self, without all the limiting beliefs and programs and blocks that you've discovered for yourself along the way and hung on to. But when you get to that authenticity, the shift is absolutely incredible. And if I could give one message to people, it would be, you can do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to take hundreds of thousands of dollars or decades to get to that place. And that place is beautiful. It's where you step into your passion, your energy, your motivation, your creativity, your purpose. It's all there. Unfortunately, it's wrapped under layers that you don't need.
And that's where I get to, owning our own truth, owning our accountability ourselves, stepping into our light, etc. All of these things, I think, pretty much almost everyone wants those. And that's where, yeah, we're uniquely different in the gifts that we have. But where we're not uniquely different is, we all have a certain amount of hurt that is built in almost everyone's programming. And quite frankly, it's almost how you deal with that hurt, or how you avoid the hurt, but it's still there, or how you develop with that hurt. I mean, these are the things that that either keep you or propel you to who you're going to become and what success you have, isn't it?
It's, yes, exactly. It's what success you have, and it's what success you don't have. And as somebody who has worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients over many years, I will tell you, I have not had one that does not have a core saboteur.
Mm-hmm.
Something that has, I call it the mother. It is a mother. And what it does is it breeds. It's a prolific procreator, and it breeds limiting beliefs and blocks and more and more and more and more and more. And when we get to that, the other blocks and limiting beliefs actually organically collapse. It's amazing. And people sometimes believe, Robert, that there are levels. I'm using little air quotes on purpose. There are levels of abuse. There are levels that if you had X happen, then this is your outcome. If your parents divorce, then you are destined for blah, 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 blah. My knowing is there is no level. A child will take in, it could be the most ambiguous statement and form a core saboteur around it. Or they may suffer at the hands of serious, just prosecutable abuse. I was almost said justifiable.
Not that.
I'm always me. This is what you get.
But here's the thing, it's so funny because you and I have talked about this before, and there is can we compartmentalize things? Sure, absolutely. Can we separate our business from our family? Can we separate our family from what we believe maybe spiritually from someone else? But at the end of the day, we aren't pieces of the self. We're actually one whole self. And no matter what, that deep down program and that deep, inner conscience that we have, it all tethers, it all binds together, as a self. And, almost like banking, almost like an emotional investment, a mental investment, when you're an entrepreneur, the sooner that you can find what's dragging you or slowing you down or keeping you from paving the paths to utilize your gifts, there's a certain sense of freedom. And I think, for many of our listeners, they've never heard of what core saboteur is. Core saboteur is actually a very new concept that you have created to help people get past, many of the very barriers that keep them, from living their best selves. Tell us a little bit more about what that core saboteur is. Is it like an avatar? Is it a part of self? Is it just a thought process? Is it just like a honeycomb of emotions, or is it all of it?
In essence, it's all of it. But let me describe it as, here's how I describe it for clients. In your subconscious mind, it is holding every moment's memory since before you were born. It has all your programs, your religious beliefs. It has every memory of everything your mother ever said to you or around you. It has everything is in there. This is the breeding ground of everything that we believe on a core level. When we find ourselves, and everybody does, reacting to things that make no sense, self-sabotaging, which can be very, very shadowy. We find ourselves on the same financial roller coaster over and over and over again. We reach a certain amount and then everything crashes. And there's always 1,000 reasons. There's 1,000 reasons why. I got sick. I left my spouse. The economy crashed. My advertising failed. So-and-so ripped me off. I can tell you unequivocally that is all coming from a core saboteur. It is the source of the limiting beliefs and the programs. It's the source. The voice of the core saboteur is very easily heard. It sounds like this: things never work out for me. This always happens. I knew I'd never make it. Mom said I wasn't good at math. That is the voice of the core saboteur
So I mean, we're holding on to those things in many ways, and they pervade through everything that we reflect on as we go through our lives, no matter what age, aren't they?
Yes, well, I can tell you really briefly when I finally, and I'm one of those people, so those of you that have done this, you will hear no judgment from me. But after decades of searching, hundreds and hundreds of hours of study and work and seeing people and consulting, hundreds, and I mean hundreds of thousands of dollars later, I found the core saboteur, and here's what I know. At the time, almost 60 years of age, I instantly, on discovering it, realized that it had controlled every aspect of my life. The relationships I chose, the financial end of my world, and why I was on this extreme roller coaster, it influenced how I moved forward in business. And I've been an entrepreneur for, well, we're 45 years now. It influenced my health at a very deep level. Once I discovered it, it was like this. The recognition was enough to start to dissipate it. And of course, since then, I've developed a very, very incredible process of not only discovering it, but truly beginning the healing for my clients. But the recognition of it begins that awareness and the healing, and it won't let me fall in that hole again.
Well, yeah, and so like, one of the concepts that I hear is like, with entrepreneurs, we don't necessarily want it, but we have that head trash. And those are those thoughts that keep us from, well, I can't be on a radio show because no one's going to really care for what I have to say. I can't publicly speak because, I am not professionally trained. Well, I can't get that client because, oh my goodness, that they're going to pay me so much, then I'm going to have to, live up to that contract or something. I mean, but really what the core saboteur is, it's not just getting rid of the head trash, it's getting rid of the source that creates the head trash, right?
It gets rid of the battery of all the head trash until it has no more energy to it. And you're exactly right. It is head trash, but there is a source to it that can be collapsed.
And when you're working with people, Lauren, and and especially because I want to bring it back to the entrepreneurs, I want to bring it back to the people who, I always say no business, no person has ever become known without anyone being aware of them first. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, the hardest thing for them to do is get out of their own way. And you know because they're the ones that tend, we always work at our own speed. And if there's a lot of weight clinging to you, you're not going to get very fast or very far. And I think that when you're working with entrepreneurs, I call it, you work on the truth, we've talked, you work on the hurt, but then you get to the help. And when you're working with the entrepreneurs, what does that help look like? And how do you gauge, the speed or velocity that person needs? And do you have to do a little bit of kicking them in the butt sometimes as well? I really want to know, what does that look like? Because I'm sure, as you said in the beginning, there might be a little bit of pain now and then, right?
There can be. What I tell people, Robert, is that working with me is very much like this. It is very relaxed. There's a lot of laughing going on because the truth is when we're making changes in the subconscious mind, doesn't it make sense that you want your state to be really high?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? I don't want to make changes when you're crying and you're traumatized by something. We want to keep you in a higher state. But there are times that, yeah, we're looking at some, let's say some less than ideal outcomes over the course of decades. And sometimes that's not fun, and that's
Right.
okay. But we get there. So for my entrepreneurs, I recently heard it said that, you know, you don't have business problems. You have personal problems that are showing up in your business.
Mhm.
And I found that to be so striking, because that is the truth. When you clear out, think about this, Robert.
Can you say that again? I mean, that is so good. I want you to make that statement again. You don't have business problems. Say that again, because I think that is a wonder. That brings a lot of clarity into what you do for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you don't have business problems. You have personal problems that are showing up in your business.
Wow.
And now I have to think about who to give credit to for that. Now I have to think about who I should credit. I'll put it in the comments later to go, okay, and thank you for I heard that. But
We'll bring that in the end notes, right?
yeah. So don't credit me. I didn't make that up myself, but it was so touching to me because it is the truth. So if you think about it, the core saboteur it's like a battery. And it's charging all of your reactions, and it's building all of these limiting beliefs. In order for you talked a little bit before about compartmentalizing. And I can put on my happy face here, and I can, let it down. How much energy does it take to keep that negative ego, that voice, the voice of the course? How much energy are you using each and every day to keep them subdued? Imagine what happens when your authentic self, the person with the energy, the creativity, the spirit, the purpose. What happens when you get to reclaim that energy? What would you accomplish? How much more would you be able to do in probably a shorter amount of time? I'm not a big fan of workaholics, 80 hours a week. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But what if you captured that energy? When I ask my clients, how much energy does it take to hold this? I usually hear numbers like, it is never less than 50% of their life force energy is being spent tamping down the stuff they don't like, they don't want to see, they don't want to be, it's not how they want to behave. Oh my gosh. Does that
You know,
sound
absolutely. And Lauren, we're coming down to the end of this section. And I always feel the passion. I always say I don't have to work very hard on knowing that you love what you do, because it's something that your why radiates out of you, and I feel it each and every time. But as an entrepreneur, or maybe someone who's going through something personally, and they have a core saboteur, and they really want to be released, from that bondage. What are a couple of things that you offer them? What do you offer them?
Here's what I would love for your listeners to understand. In case you haven't noticed, I am very non-threatening. So the very, very next best step they can take, go to my website, email me, or text me. Let's have a phone call. Because the truth is that yes, we can reach that core saboteur in a matter of hours, and the healing will begin. Perhaps what you really want is to find the core saboteur and truly heal it over the course of 2 days. Perhaps what you want is ongoing pieces as we go. Perhaps you want the whole kit and caboodle. The truth of the matter is, I would rather have a conversation with you. Take the time to understand where you are. What have you already done? Where is it you'd like to be? And really decide between the two of us, am I the right person to get you there? And I've been in this for a very long time, Robert. I know that I know if you're the right person, if I can get you where you want to be. And if I can't, in case you didn't know, there's this networking thing. So I have
There is. Oh my goodness.
just,
Everyone, I'm with Lauren Archibeque. She's a best-selling author, speaker, and trainer, and founder of the Growth Company. And as I said at the beginning of the segment, it's not entrepreneurial growth, it's not business growth, it's not personal growth, it's not community growth, it's growth itself. If you want to grow and you want to grow at the rate that you can run at, please, get in contact with her and just have a conversation, because she is wonderful, and she'll help you release you from some of the bondage you don't even know existed. That's what's so incredible. Again, she can be reached at Lauren at thegrowthcompany.net. That's thegrowthcompany.net, or call her at 480-276-0443. Any other ways that we can get in contact with you, Lauren?
that will do it. Either of those ways, or you can actually get on my website and put yourself on my calendar. Super simple.
I love simple. Believe me,
Yeah.
there is one word I love. It's called KISS, and that's not the rock band. It's keep it simple, silly. Okay, so let's keep it simple, silly for everyone out there. And I don't like saying stupid, because silly makes me smile, stupid makes me frown. So I'm going to keep on saying silly. Lauren, thank you. Lauren, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's always my pleasure to get to talk about things that I don't usually normally get to talk about, such as the core saboteur. I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert. A pleasure to be here as usual.
I have a saying, and it goes like this: you really, really know someone loves what they do because you can just feel it. And that's what I love about Lauren Archibeque. She loves what she does, and she loves to help you get from here to wherever you want to be and at the speed you want to do it at. So if you want to do it in 2 minutes, she'll help you there. If you want to take 20 years, because she's 180 years old, absolutely, she'll help you do that as well. So thank you so much again, Lauren, for being on the show with me today. Next, oh my goodness, one of my besties, one of my wonderful besties, I have Jill Lublin. She is like the props guru. Oh my goodness. And she is here with us today. Jill, how are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal, Robert. So good to be here with you.
It is so good to have you here, everyone. I am with Jill Lublin. That's like Loob, Lublin, not Lublin, right?
That's right.
Not like Dublin, like Lublin. And so she's an international speaker, best-selling author. She has her books behind her. I mean, she is a radical influencer. She is a guru on promotion and PR. She's the founder of Jill Lublin Inc., and I am with her today. You can reach her at JillLublin.com or call her at 415-246-8795. So that's all her information. Does that sound good, Jill? It's scrolling across the screen there.
Terrific. Thank you so much. And so excited to be here with you and to connect with all your listeners and viewers.
Jill, I want to kind of go, let's talk a little history, okay?
Uh-oh.
I mean, a lot of history, because I think it's really, really important. And one of the things that I found in my 58 years of life is, some things happen never to happen again, and then some things happen like in cycles, and they return again and again and again. I see life in cycles. You have been in PR, public relations, for going on 25 years. And I don't know how you do it. You know, you're 180 as well, and you look like you're 18. So, I mean, it's just amazing the beautiful women on this show that I get to speak with, you know, and without taking all show long, because I know you could do it, you know, tell us a few of the things that you've found in PR that have changed over 25 years, but also tell us maybe a few of the things that have kind of come back in PR over the last 25 years.
Oh boy, big question. I love it. Okay, here's the thing. Let's start with the good news. Here's what I see about PR and how it's changed. Everything's changed in the sense that your PR opportunities have multiplied, my friends. Multiplied. What does she mean by that? You know, because between Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, you know, StreamYard, like what we're doing, Restream, all of the wonderful formats and forums. And then, of course, when you're featured in major media, you're also featured in the .coms and all of their formats and formulas. And then there's podcasts and blogs. I mean, I am just so excited. I think the PR opportunities have multiplied. Okay, so that's super great. And, you know, because people go, oh, newspapers are closing. Well, first of all, everybody's still, can I just tell y'all, still reading. They still look at newspapers. When I go to a hotel, USA Today is outside my door and the local paper of where I am. Just saying, okay?
Yeah.
TV is still there. Some of you watch it on your phone and other devices now. Cool. The point is, it's still happening. And so I just really want to underline that. And I think it's a wonderful thing to stay focused on.
You know, and I also want to double down on that, Jill. You know, I was reading an article the other day, and the fastest growing audience of actually tactile items such as books and magazines are kids between 7 and 16. I mean, they're already learning that, reading a book and actually touching it and turning the pages actually is a wonderful thing. You know, you can actually read books and learn from them just as much as you can be on the phone. And here us adults, you know, I mean, I have two phones myself. I have a laptop, I have another laptop, I have an iPad, I have a desktop, I have another desktop. Oh my goodness, I got all this stuff around me. And then all of a sudden nowadays, you know, I have to like digitally detox from all of that just to ground myself. I mean, how important is it in this day and age of so much information and so much data and so many ways to be found? Is it for us just to unplug? I mean, or is that important?
Well, I think it's always important. I mean, for me, one of my big things I learned through COVID is self-care. Like my self-care went exponentially up. And I'm going to tell you, it's my story and I'm going to stick to it because, you know, the truth is I give out a lot. I teach publicity boot camps. You know, I just coming off one today. I teach publicity courses. I speak all over the world, both virtually and in person. And the reality is if I'm not taking care of me, right, how can I give to others? So,
Yeah.
so I'm really big on do what you need to do. And that might be digital detox. For me, it might mean a spa or massage, just saying, and a good bath at night. I love that, you know, and sometimes just quiet. Or watch movies that are really fun for me, and you know, I just shall we say unplug in whatever way. Plus, I get out in nature a lot, and that helps.
And one of the things that I've really learned from you is, you know, have I learned a lot about, PR and, you know, putting myself out there in ways to get into different media channels. And, you know, it's like, gosh, and I've been able to even create some with my company, Entrepreneur Network. But one of the things and I tell you this I always call it my Jill time. So everyone who's listening out there, I get like maybe like 1 or 2 hours a month of just having a little bit of Jill time. And the most remarkable thing that I found about you, Jill, is, you know, you have a wonderful way of creating your own space.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is, you know, with the Profit of Kindness, your book, in with your kindness circles, you know, you're not just doing business, you're creating a wonderful community that actually provides that support, that provides that inspiration, that provides the conversation. And it goes beyond business, it goes beyond transactions. And that's really what I've learned from you a lot. Is I've always been about relationships, but you have a masterful way of creating beauty in your business relationships. Was this something that you always had, or is this something that you've developed over time in creating that world in a way, your own marketplace that goes beyond transactions?
Robert, I've always felt that people come first, right? And business happens as a result of that. And I have a heart for business, meaning I want to be with
Mhm.
people who are heart centered. Listen, I've done a lot of business with people who aren't. I come out of the music business. I've been in very male environments where I had to kind of, fight my way
Mhm.
through, so to speak. And what I learned even more was my heart was what made me stand out. And, I got introduced on a stage in front of 1,000 people one time, and the man, very masculine, said, she's one of the biggest hearted people I know. Well, that's because that's how I want to operate. I make a choice to operate that way. And, who likes it, terrific. Who doesn't, okay. I can cross lots of bridges and borders and work with all kinds of people, but I prefer heart-centered entrepreneurs. Just saying.
No, I agree. I find it phenomenal because it I always feel like growth isn't what you do. Growth is who you become. And that's a lot of what I've learned and I take a lot of cue, and I hear the kitty in the background.
Yes,
I
yes, I
gotta
do
love
have
the
two.
kitties.
I have two cats. All of a sudden, they decided to get excited.
Oh my, oh my goodness. But being a veteran of PR, and we just had our women's summit just almost 2 weeks ago. And quite frankly, we had a room for 60 people and 90 people came. They just kept coming in, kept coming in. It was like standing room only. And one of the things that I love so much, I was raised by a single mom, and I had a really powerful grandma. you know what does it feel like for you to start seeing such an evolving of the industry, with so many wonderful and talented women that are coming into the world of marketing, in the world of business, in the world of being entrepreneurs, even in technology? You know, how does that make you feel, by one, being a trailblazer in the industry, and really mentoring by who you are, and how you see things around you? You have to wake up in the morning and just giggle a little bit by how cool this is, right?
Well, I feel very excited. I love what I do, and I do what I love, which helps. Like you were talking to your last guest about, and I think those of us who really have that passion, it just exudes everywhere. And the reality is, I am delighted and excited for the power of women in the marketplace now. In fact, I was watching someone, Judy Woodruff. She's been in, the morning hour news show for many years, covering things in 1974 that no other woman was covering. And
Mm.
she was also talking about, wow, women are at the top now. Thousands of reporters and media people, which I, of course, care about because media and press are my babies, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yes, and what I've learned is that the power of the women in the marketplace is really an exceptional thing that I think we can all be proud of. And women bring a certain something that I think is special and different.
And it's amazing how they, you know in my time, Jill, I used to be in programming, and I did coding. I worked for different corporations, and I really didn't see any women. There wasn't a lot. And I've seen it evolve so much, even in my time frame. And then getting into the networking space this last 10 years, you know the community that I'm in, I Entrepreneur Network, we've gone from about 65% men, 35% women, to now 65% women, 35% men. And it just seems like, I really see women as just going out there and being the front runners. And it's almost like, at this point in time, it's not just the talent that I think women have. It seems like it's the belief that there's all these opportunities, and now women are just going into that space and grabbing onto it. And I love that. And for me, and I don't know about you, but they make PR easier because because women are trainable, aren't they?
Very coachable, but I work with men and women.
Yep.
And here's what I know: when you are committed to getting your message out and creating visibility, the power of publicity is going to amplify you, right? And attract and monetize and multiply. I like to call it the
Mhm.
3 M's.
Yep.
And the point about this is that wherever you're at, man or woman, all is possible in my world of publicity in terms of getting that exposure to have you be seen, have you be heard, and
Well,
frankly, have you get paid.
well,
That's a good thing.
that's a great thing, and and I'm always grateful for every client that comes into my life. I want to share something. Talking about history, I still remember a long time ago, and it's so funny. When you look back, it becomes more and more meaningful as time goes on. And one of the principles you discussed with me was the ooh ah factor. And and I'm bringing that up because when I heard it, I thought, ooh, I get it. Intellectually, I can hold it, I can embrace it. But my goodness, Jill, through COVID, through the pivots, through the challenges of not meeting in person, ooh, became, m- I mean, more phenomenal to me than I could have ever imagined. And there is something about speed, in velocity, in good content, and really holding on to a certain authenticness, that the ooh ah factor is real. you know it I had a lady today, and she's going to be coming, and by everyone, Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, Jill's going to be training at our author circles class. So you go to ntevents.net to find Jill there. And you know what, there was an ooh-ha moment. I was speaking with her, and she saw your face go on one of our banners. She's like, I know Jill. And I thought to myself, ooh ah. Tell us a little bit about the ooh ah factor, and why does it matter so much to the entrepreneur?
Oh, absolutely. I love the ooh ah factor,
I
and
do too.
I mean, here's the thing. It's a soundbite, my friends. It's a soundbite. And by the way, when she said, I know Jill, maybe she knew one thing about me, but if I used an ooh, ah factor, it might be something else entirely. And she goes, oh, I didn't know that about you. This is what I want to bring up to many of you, that sometimes we want to give people something to talk about, right? And it might be something personal, it might be something professional, it might be the integration of both, right?
Mm,
So, for instance, one of my clients, she's a business coach. She has a son who's autistic. That's her ooh ah factor. And we go out for National Autism Month and talk about being a mom for an autistic son. What do you do in life? How do you create great business and be a great mom? So we can talk about different things. It doesn't always have
yeah,
to be, oh, I'm a business coach, or oh, I'm this, or I'm that. What else could you be using everything you've got?
yeah. And it reminds me of something that I have learned with you. And people don't want to always go straight to the what and the how. They want to
Mm.
know your who and your why first. And I think a lot of those stories really are attributable to the who and the why. And if I know who you are and why you do it, I mean, that sells me as much as what you do and how you do it, doesn't it?
Right, exactly. And the caring. Listen, I've been teaching
Yeah.
my publicity breakthrough boot camp for the past few days, and one of the women said, Jill, in 2.5 days, I learned more from you than I spent in a year program with somebody. And your heart, people, it's like that's what she commented on. Your caring, the fact that you take us through so many real things.
Mhm.
That was what she was excited about, right? Not all the information. Listen, my friends, I
Yeah.
know you're all smart and you got great information, but it's how you, shall I say, give it to others that also really matters.
Yeah, and I brought it up earlier, the Book of Kindness, and I want to bring it up again. It's your most recent book, and I think it's really your most powerful book because it really brings the heart of you, to the forefront. And you also brought from that book your international kindness community. Tell everyone a little bit about your kindness community and why that is so special to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, when I wrote The Prophet of Kindness, the truth is, I frankly didn't know I was writing the book. All of a sudden, that book kind of popped in my lap, and I always consider this a bit of a sign from God. Like, okay, and part of that message to me, because the truth is, how is this related to publicity? Kind companies get more publicity. It's just the
Mm,
truth, right? Honda did a huge kindness campaign. Dignity Health, major health provider, did a huge human kindness billboard campaign. I mean, it is everywhere, and frankly, we need it now more than ever.
I
And
agree.
I want people, thank you. I want people to practice what I call conscious acts of kindness. Random acts are nice, but conscious acts of kindness are really, really super. So I put together a kindness community. We meet once a month on Zoom for 1 hour. That's it. Think about that 1 hour of kindness and the difference it can make. It's so beautiful. I invite all of your listeners to it. JillLublin.com/kindness circles. Maybe you can put that across the screen. I would love
Absolutely.
to have all of you. There's no charge. We're just getting together and we are sharing kindness. And,
You know,
and,
and
and let me just say, hang on one sec. Sorry.
absolutely. Yes, yes.
Because I have during that 1 hour, we have 2 circles, which is super great. You get to meet amazing people and ask for an act of kindness, whatever you need, and promote yourself. And that's all fun. And then I have outstanding speakers, like for 10 minutes, somebody like John Asarov, major figure, or Marcy Shimoff, Miss Your Miracles, and a book on happiness and a book on love and chicken soup for the mother's soul. She's done all kinds of things. So I have amazing 10-minute speakers who inspire you. And then we go to kindness circles. It's quite
Oh,
fun.
oh yeah. I mean, I remember Bob Berg, and that was like just amazing time. And and you really have a great team. I love working with Mary Beth as well. Because she also values people in the way that you do, and that's that. And I think it starts from you, and everything flows from you, and I love that.
Thank you.
But Jill, let's talk a little bit about PR. As entrepreneurs, you know, we hear that word so much, and believe me, I talk about it ad nauseum sometimes, and I'm like, come on, just do these little things. They really mean something. Leave who you are, like breadcrumbs from birds from everywhere, and all of a sudden, they'll just start attracting to you. I mean, what are just three simple things that an entrepreneur can do right now without breaking the bank? What are those little PR things that that entrepreneurs can do so they can show themselves to the world?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to give you some small steps
I
to
love it. Oh my gosh.
small steps to big success, my friends, because that is what it takes, is baby steps. Okay.
Mhm.
So here's baby step number one, very good step, and that is get clear about your message. What is your message? And I love to say that, it's focused on the problem today. Like, what's the problem today out in the world? What is that? So that's a biggie. Okay. Number one. And then, of course, providing your solutions, simple solutions, not commercial, but just tell people what to do. Drop those golden nuggets, golden nuggets,
Yeah.
golden nuggets. Love that. Okay. So that's one biggie. Two is create your ooh ah factor. And in fact, I had a media panel on my publicity boot camp, and one of the women said, she said, listen, if you're seeing something in the world that you can talk about, let's go. Like, I have a
Yeah.
woman, she's a firefighter, first female firefighter in rural North Carolina. Now she's helping people put out fires in their business. Isn't that cute?
Ah, love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
isn't that great? Well, let me just tell you, however, when there was an earthquake in Turkey, Interior. That's funny. Turkey, Turkey and Syria. That's my dyslexia kicking in. Turkey, in Turkey and Syria. I said to her,
Syria.
yes, I said to her, forget everything we've been talking about putting fires out in your business. And here's how. Let's talk about being a first responder and what do you do in an
Hmm.
emergency? Because that's what we needed in this moment, right? So be listening, big ears. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want you to big ears and listen for where you can fit in to the media. That's a real key and will help all of you to make a big difference. And that's as easy as looking at your phone, the headlines. And third, last but not least, get yourself in Google Alerts
Hmm.
with your name and also like a phrase. Maybe for me, guess what I put in? Publicity, kindness. And that's how I found out World Kindness Day is November 13th. Did you know that? Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
Before I didn't know that before I wrote The Profit of Kindness. And by putting in the word kindness into Google Alerts, guess what? Wow. Now I can do lots of articles and different things on kindness in addition to publicity.
And that reminds me of a lot of things too. Being solutions oriented, doesn't it also mean that, you're also hearing for like potential clients as pain points as well, and so being very cognizant of those pain points and how to utilize those in the content that you put out. I mean, they say content is keen, and I say content's keen only if it creates connection. What are some of the ways that content can connect more just by some of the words that we say?
Well, part of it is be super clear about your message. I mean, otherwise, honestly, you're going to go all over
Hmm.
the place or you're going to be at the effect of the media person. Robert, as far as I want your viewers and listeners to know, you all control your message, right? And that means you don't have to, well, answer every question. You can shift and swerve. You can create a message that is meaningful, and then you get it out there. Because don't wait for the great host. I mean, Robert's a great host and he asks great questions. Most hosts are not so great, just saying. um, and they're kind of getting through an interview, and you have to be a great guest. You have to be the best in just your how you speak yourself, and that
Yeah.
will make all the difference.
Yeah, I think one of the words that I've learned over the last couple of years is the word brevity. I
Mm,
love that word more so than ever, and it's a word I don't believe that is used a not lot.
mm,
And another word that I work with entrepreneurs on, and I love words, Jill. I mean, I love words, is the word adversity. And people are like, well, adversity is something you run from. And I said, no, the original word of adversity was something you run to, because you can be the person that solves it. you
mm.
know and I think so much of the time, what I've learned from you. I'm showering Jill with all of this, so I'm glad she says she likes me too, because I learn so much each and every time, because you were the person that was placed in my life, that allowed me to learn, how powerful words are, especially if you understand, the genesis of those words, you know that
I
you can
love that.
provide such beautiful meaning and context, with your readers, with your listeners, in your marketing, in your packages. you know you've given us some great tips: Google Alerts, National Calendar Day. But another thing that you always talk about when you're working with clients, and this is a phrase that I came from you. I always say, I may know more than you, but you will always sell me better than I can sell me. And that comes from your raving fans become your best sales advocates.
Mm.
And just before we end the show, what are some ways that we can get our raving fans to be our greatest sales advocates? How do we do that?
Well, one thing I do is make sure that you're always giving, you know, give resources, give leads, give referrals, connect people. That's one of my secret weapons. I just do it. I just do it because I love it,
Yeah.
with no expectations. At times, sometimes there are agreements in place, which is fine. Both things are fine. And make sure you're clear that if you give referrals, is there referral fees? That's great. I actually think, to do that, one should do that. But I will tell you, I'm always looking for right matches and making sure that, I was just on a call earlier today. The woman said, "Oh, I love speaking engagements." Okay, great. Guess what? I put her together with some speaking engagements, and Robert will probably be sending her to you because she loves speaking, right? And so we're always looking to see, how can you serve people? That's your big question, my friends.
Absolutely.
How can you serve more people? I promise you success by doing that.
Oh my goodness. I am here with Jill Lublin. She's an international speaker, best-selling author on radical influence, publicity, and networking, and is the founder of Jill Lublin Inc. She can be reached at jill@jilllublin.com, or you can call her at you're so brave, 415-246-8795. Please, join her at one of her publicity boot camps. You will learn so much, and I guarantee you will walk away with things that are actionable the moment that Zoom ends. Jill, thank you so much for being on the show today. You are such a delight. You're an amazing person, and I love you to death. And you are the star. And everyone's a star.
You are the star. Thank you, Robert. You're amazing too. Mwah. Back at you.
Mwah. Oh my goodness. Two amazing people, the great Lauren Archibeque and the wonderful Jill Lublin on the show today. Thank you so much for being with us. We know you have things to do and places to go, but you took some time to do those things, and you took this place to do it with us, and I want to say thank you for it. Have a great day, everyone. Until we see you next week from 2:30 to 3:30. We're on Pacific time, Arizona time, that Maverick state. Would love to see you there. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been watching The Iron Entrepreneur Show, a production of the Iron Entrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.